Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So today I'm coming to you guys with some data. I did a video not too long ago about this bike sort of overheating, I guess you'd say, or getting hotter with changing foot positions. So instead of trying to do this where I'm reading the engine temperatures to you guys off the dyno jet, which is difficult to see on camera, I thought I'll harvest the data from the dyno jet, also utilize a sensor push, throw up all the information on the dyno jet with overlays here, get it looking sort of like a video game for the viewers, and you can drop down in the comments down below. What do you think is happening with this 114 Milwaukee 8 with temperatures when you change foot position? So let me go ahead and just run this bike until it gets up to temp, which is somewhere around 280. So I'll go ahead, get it up to 280, and then just play around with the foot positions, and you guys can kind of see for yourself. So let's go ahead and roll into a bit of a time lapse here until we're up to temp. Okay, so for what it's worth here, the bike is up to 270 degrees engine temp. It is cooler today than, well, it really has been in general in any of my riding, so it might take a little while for it to get back up to the 280-ish normal temp if it were at all. So I'm going to start the test here. It should all kind of work out the same way as it did before, but we'll see. Now, when I noticed this was on my trip out to LA, to go see Matt Laidlaw and have a little visit with him. Chad, I'll link that video up above here if I remember to do so. But what was happening was I noticed the temperature started to kind of shoot up, and at first I didn't know what it was, but it didn't take me too long to realize that it had to do with foot positions. So the whole time that this bike was warming up over the course of 21 miles, my feet were on the footboards here, and I'm going to go ahead and throw them up, and we'll just kind of go up top here on the highway pegs for now, and watch that temperature here. It should start to climb relatively quickly, and we'll go ahead and time lapse that, because I know you're not going to want to sit through the whole experience here, but you should be able to see within a few miles here the temperatures push upwards of say 300 degrees. Maybe this is all nothing. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, but it seems like something interesting to me, so figured I'd make a video about it. And to those of you who would say, oh, just take your bike into the shop, you dummy, I could do that, but what fun would that be for content on YouTube? So I'd be curious just to kind of see what a lot of people have to say out there, especially, like, you know, maybe tuners out there. I do want to say real quick that this bike does have the tab mufflers on here, the slip-ons with the medium baffles, so this bike is technically decatted. And then it also has the Milwaukee 8 114 stock, but I did put the K&N air filter on there, which, if you're interested, it probably could use to be cleaned. It's been a little while since I cleaned that, but I don't think that's the issue, because it hasn't really been that long. So as you can see here, we've got up to 280 degrees. But again, let me go ahead and jump into the time lapse here and see kind of where these temps creep up to. Previously they were shooting over 300. Not sure if I'll get there today, because it is probably 15-20 degrees cooler than the last time I was riding. So let's just kind of see what it does here. Alright, so it looks like it's capping out like 284. Again, like I said, it's like 15-20 degrees cooler out than it was before, so it's not pushing up to 300. But if you notice here, when I go ahead and put my feet on the floorboards, the temperature should drop. If I know my bike, it should drop relatively quick from 284. So we'll see what happens here. And again, that was about 4 miles that I had my legs up on the bars that the temperature seemed to stop spiking, but see kind of where it settles back down to. So you can see it dropped a couple degrees again. Now, a lot of guys out there are going to watch this video, maybe not watching my last video, which I'll link that up above, where you can see the temperatures getting slightly higher. because people would watch this video and be like, you dope, that's nothing to be concerned about. But again, I'm doing this test on a much cooler day than what I did previously, so just kind of magnify what you're seeing here. Yeah, so now it's back down to like 277, 275, and it's kind of jumping back and forth between there. So I'm not seeing the massive spikes that I saw before. Again, the spike usually runs about 280 is the engine temp. About normal running conditions, I'd say, here in Arizona. Again, having the temperatures being much lower makes this be a difficult test to run. Maybe I'll have to do this again on a warmer day, but let's go ahead and I'm going to throw my feet up on the rear position here, and we'll see what we can get it to do there, if I get any more significant results. I believe last time I did this that the rear position did get hotter, so let's give that a test. So, and there we have 300 degrees. So as you can see, I mean, it's kind of getting up there. Like it's taking a little bit longer than normal, but being chillier out certainly doesn't help running overheating tests. But you do get the gist of it. You can see feet up in the rear position, bike gets up to 300. I can pretty much assure you that if I stayed in this position, it's 302. It'll just keep going up. So let me go ahead and run like this for another, let's give it 5 miles, see what happens. Alright, so that was about another 5 miles. You see we're at 307. So now I'll go ahead and put my feet back down on the floorboards, and you should see that 307 drop down pretty rapidly, I'm assuming. So that's been a total of 42 miles now that we've ridden the bike. That's actually pretty interesting, being that it is cooler right now, that it got up to 307. So that was 42 miles on the trip odometer. We'll see how many miles it takes to drop back down with my feet back on the floorboards. So it's just another time lapse. Sorry for all this music you have here, but I can assure you that if I spoke for 45 minutes of filming, nobody would watch this video. So I'm trying to keep it as interesting as I can over the course of probably an 80-mile ride here. So see what we do. And there you have, we're back down to 280, so 27 degrees in the matter of 3 miles that it dropped. So pretty interesting. I'm guessing that it'll probably drop back down to about 270 again, just because of where it was running before. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's up to temp now, and with 46 miles, maybe it'll stay at 280 where it normally hangs out. Interesting thing to note, I looked up all the specs on the Milwaukee 8. Nowhere could I find any sort of like optimal running temperature or maximum running temperature, so I'm not too sure where that information might live. So if somebody else knows, please drop in the comments down below what you think the spec for this motor is, because I have no idea. I'm going to throw my feet back up here on the highway pegs. We're at 46 miles on the trip odometer, and kind of see what happens. So see if I can get that temperature back up again. Alright, so there you have 289. I'll leave it there, put my feet back down, let it cool back off. Just kind of an interesting phenomenon going on here. Again, 60 degrees, you could imagine at 75, 80 degrees, it's much more hard for the motor to scrub off temperature at that point. So that was kind of what I was experiencing in the higher temperatures. This is a pretty interesting thing to me. That is happening. I don't know what the situation is, but this all but vindicates ultra cool oil coolers that that was not the problem. Originally I was assuming that with the oil cooler down there alongside the motor that my feet on the floorboards were actually kind of splitting the gap between the ultra-cool oil cooler and the motor and channeling air over the motor. And then when I would put my feet up or in the rearward position, that the ultra-cool oil cooler kind of became like an airplane wing and would channel air around the motor. And that was kind of my theory, but that still might be the case, that with your leg down, that it channels air over the motor more efficiently. But it does kind of rule out the fact that the ultra-cool oil cooler would have anything to do with it, aside from just characteristics of the bike. I would be interested to kind of see what somebody else who maybe tunes bikes or an actual Harley mechanic would have to say about that. Maybe what's going on with the motor. Somebody recommended or referenced oil sumping. That could be the issue, and I don't necessarily think that's the case, because when my feet are down or up, I don't really know how the oil flow inside the motor would change. The fluid dynamics, nothing would change with that. So I don't think that's the issue. Could it be a tuning issue? Maybe. I have run the auto tune on this a couple different times. Maybe I should run the auto tune as I'm doing these different foot positions. I did run an auto tune. I pulled off, topped off fresh fuel, and ran an auto tune with my legs in the rear position the entire time the auto tune was running, in hopes that maybe the auto tune would sense that the motor was getting hotter and maybe pull a little fuel out, or whatever the equation is. It didn't really make a difference, because I think a lot of people would have said, oh, just run an auto tune. So there you have it. Yeah, the temps dropping back down again, 293. So the auto tune did not change the behavior, but I did kind of just want to put this out there now for the internet and YouTube world to kind of have at and see what you guys think. And with that being said, I am going to, well, end my recordings, because I have 56 minutes of footage times 3 cameras, so I have 3 hours of video now to run through, and also the audio to sync, plus the overlays of all the data. This will be a big one to edit. I'll be working well into the night on this one, hopefully to drop it Sunday, tomorrow, for you guys to watch. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I will see you guys next time. Oh, as a little bonus extra here, because I will have people that probably ask the question of how I did all of this overlay stuff. Basically, I'm just running a log here on the DynoJet PowerVision, where I export that data on the computer side, which I have to run parallels on my Mac because it is only a PC app. So I upload that, take that information off of the DynoJet. Same thing with the sensor push sensor, take that into a CSV, and I use race render, load all that in, sync it up with the footage, customize all these gadgets you see here, all the gauges, the way that I want them on the video, and then publish it, edit it all through Final Cut Pro. So it's got a lot of work, but it's not hard, it's just a lot of work, but that is how it is done.